Happy spring break, ladies and gentlemen. The one and only Venom Twerk is live in Marvel Rivals, and we are live. It's Rivals Fight Night, the one and only community-run competition where we bring in your favorite teams from NA and EU and make them fight each other. We got Avast and ZP to talk about Europe tonight. And ZP, I missed last week. I was down in Texas working on the Call of Duty League, so catch me up because there's been a lot of competition from MRI to the Rivals Fight Night. What did we miss on week 3?
So week number 3, I mean, look, we had LG get through our qualifying match, and they ran into a brick wall in Virtus Pro. But Virtus Pro, right now, the entire org has things going on org-wide, so they're not doing anything across all of esports. So LG, by virtue of being the team that was in the money match last week, they get to stay on for the money match this week. But with Oblivione and especially OG Esports rounding up our roster here today, it's not going to be an easy time.
Avast is going to be a blast. Oblivione back in action. They went to a Game 5 first time here on Rivals Fight Night. Tonight they play against OG, a team that's kind of considered the second best in Europe right now. What are your expectations in the opening round?
I mean, realistically, I'm expecting this to be a very, very close match based off Oblivione's performance on our previous Rivals Fight Night. I think overall, like, OG has looked consistently good across all the tournaments they've been in. But if you watch the previous Rivals Fight Night, because obviously, because they haven't been in MRI, Oblivione, they've looked really, really good. They have a ton of flexibility across their roster. They made really smart swaps, especially in the Vanguard line. So this matchup should be a pretty exciting one, especially if you're a fan of Oblivione, because this is really the chance to once again show, like, oh, we're competing with the top.
And of course, EU playing a little different meta than NA. You're going to see that tonight as Shroud X takes on Shikigami. We also have 100 Thieves, the best controller players to ever grace Rivals in action for NA. And 100 Thieves, I feel like this may be the team to watch in North America. Luminosity is our surprise challenger for the night, though. They are going to be our interim heavyweight champion. So, ZP, what should I know about the team waiting in the wings in that EU Grand Final?
Yeah, I think for LG, they have some parts that look really, really good, you know, whether it be Naga in the duelist role, where I think as Rivals has really evolved, it's kind of been the idea that you cannot win games if you don't have a duelist that's capable of making plays. Naga, especially on heroes like Namor, really lives up to that. But also in terms of plays from their vanguards, right? Players like Trust Me really make a big impact at making space. And I think LG, you know, while they didn't look super good versus VP, they did look really good versus 0% in the challenging match. And I think regardless of who gets through, whether it be OG or Oblivione, I think LG will give them a very strong challenge.
All right, we're going to be talking about rosters here from EU in just a moment, but Avast, we need to address the accusations. Is that background fake? Someone said that you stole it from a Marriott hotel catalog, that it is superimposed on a green screen. Did you truly move?
I mean,
it's a green screen. Confirmed.
It's not real.
You can interact with it. I can move the table here, you know. It seems pretty real to me. I wouldn't go through that much effort to deceive yet. But maybe as we get further into the fight night, you know, era for us, the Rivals Fight Night, I'm gonna start doing a run and gag. I'm just gonna start like building sets, like talking to Mr. Beast production people, just like build like new things. I'm gonna keep myself in a cube for 24 hours. Why not? Like, but right now I think it's real.
Yeah, well, we're still paying out of pocket. It's real. Let's take a look here at our teams because they are the real deal as well. Starting with OG, you see the Red Bull sponsor. This squad has a lot of hype, and if you've watched them recently, Etsu has been my player to watch, but Tanuki on the Wolverine is always a treat for the European fans, ZP.
Yeah, and it's not just that. I mean, not only are the DPS standout for OG Esports, but the one thing that's really also separating teams right now in Marvel Rivals is just what is your ability to properly cycle your ultimates, right? Are you winning fights cleanly, ult economy-wise? Are you not throwing things away? Like, team-wide, and I think a lot of this is due to, you know, the strategist line with Ken and Alex, is that, generally speaking, they don't overcommit on ults in a lot of the fights. They play a really smart tactical style where even if they don't get some of the individual contribution that maybe you see at times out of VP, as a team, they play in a way where it's very, you don't see them lose fights terribly all that often.
I will say Ken is one of the best Lokis I've seen in recent history as well. If you watched him in MRI, he was backpacking the squad, countering everyone's opposing ultimates. Alex also in the mix, possibly on Luna's Snow, but let's take a look at Oblivione because this is the team that wasn't seen in MRI, led by the great Daemon. We knew him from the Overwatch League days. He's put together a pretty decent roster. Talk to me about this crew. Avast, who do you have eyes on tonight?
I mean, the thing that defined them last time when we saw them in Rivals Fight Night was just the flexibility of their Vanguard line. Just being able to swap out, you know, for Forever, for Passio, bringing them in, and just letting them really define what the compositions we're going to play, whether it be with a thing, whether it be like, oh, we're going to play more standard double shield, and just having a little bit more pocket picks in the back pocket, I guess, for Oblivione, because I think this team, they looked really good across the board, but they really shined in terms of how flexible they were. So when you're looking against Oblivione versus a more trustworthy team, you know, the tried and true of OG, it's kind of the newcomer that's like is ready to try a bunch of different things versus that veteran experience and the one that's looked really consistently good across.
ZP, we were kind of amazed to see the number of roster rotations that went down, because there was a point where Passio comes in and just takes over on that Vanguard role. Is there a ideal composition or starting lineup in your eyes?
You know, I think when you go the starting lineups here, we're going to open with domination. Generally, teams are preferring at times, especially in EU, to run more dive heavy, right? You'll generally want to run a roster where you'll go with, say, the Venom dive into the backline, right? But as we go on into your convoy and convergence maps, that's where the roster depth really comes in handy, where you can change up your tanks and go, hey, you're a little bit more comfortable on Magneto. Okay, cool. We're going to put you in for that. So in Oblivione may be the only roster we've seen that's really gone super deep in the roster versatility here, but you know what? Band pick phase.
We're done filling. We're done filling. Let's get into the game, ladies and gentlemen. We have all 12 players ready to rock, and the starting band for Oblivione. Were they the ones getting rid of Groot every single game? Let's see what they do with the opening pick here.
People have been loving to get rid of Groot a lot recently, which they're going to do, especially against teams that have a really, really strong consistency, like ZP was talking about. Oh, like removing Groot, who, I mean, players like Vinny and NA have talked about, like, you have to just remove Groot. He's so strong right now. Like, if you're not, especially if you're not good at playing him. And OG is going to choose to get rid of the Adam Warlock. So, I mean, removing probably some of the triple strategist backlines, removing probably the
res comp, right?
Yeah, the res comp as well, that you're going to see from like Star-Lord, Mantis, etc. And with a Bucky Protect, which makes a lot of sense, because, I mean, we've seen them do very much. I mean, Winter Soldier has been like a tried and true staple for the team.
So, OG isn't going to protect their Wolverine. Instead, they're protecting Bucky. So what does Oblivione do?
Oh, they're gonna protect the thing. Yeah, I mean, honestly, I think it makes sense, especially if you're banning something like Groot and you have a reputation for running, you know, more dive tank side where, you know, you run heroes, whether it be like Thing or Venom. Teams know each other well enough. They know, okay, well, we're going to get rid of that. So the protecting Thing here just ensures that they have a front line they can run after banning Groot. But getting rid of the Luna here also just targeted towards OG, making it less valuable if they pick up the Namor.
All right, so Namor getting targeted out of the game. Avast, any predictions here? Final ban.
I mean, this is going to be tough because Wolverine is probably set. You know, you're going to be playing against Thing. I mean, perhaps I was about to say, okay, a Hela ban would make sense. I was even going to say potentially a Magneto ban, but both teams typically like playing Magneto, and since like it seems like they'd probably prefer to play maybe a little bit more like long range here, there's no reason to get rid of the Magneto in that case, but also does enable you to put, but with Hela being gone, that means, okay, you're not going to see the Loki team up, you're not going to see really, really strong flanks coming out from the Hela player, which, I mean, you know, we saw Nocta on the side of Oblivione do a lot of really great work on the Hela previously, so maybe they're just like, let's just remove it from the field. Let's not even worry about it. We know we're going to be better in the Winter Soldier matchup here, and let's keep it in our eyes and pretty much in our court.
If you're just joining us here at Rivals Fight Night, we are playing a best of 5. First map is always domination. From there, it is loser's pick. You can go to Convoy, you can go to Convergence, you can go back to domination, whatever you want to play. We've got it for you. Loser picks first to 3 wins is moving on to our final tonight. It'll be LG Luminosity waiting in the grand final. OG Esports Oblivione. The challengers match starts now.
You know, Avast getting into it too. Passio is coming out here on map 1. Last time we saw Oblivione, Passio was held off until map 2, but they just decide here, you know what? We're going to open with the Magneto, pair it up with the Thing.
Yeah, and I think this is a very, like, tried and true composition now. At this point, teams love it. It gives you a lot of flexibility. You have the option to be extremely aggressive and appeal when you're using some, you know, that embattled leap to come back in the damage reduction. You have the, obviously, the bulwarks coming out from Magneto as an early, very early portal here onto the point with Enzo being here on the Doctor Strange, and OG Esports taking an extremely aggressive position. And notice, they're still on the Winter Soldier, so it's a Winter Soldier matchup here, but in return, it's also the Star-Lords. They're going to have to watch for those flanks, watch for some of the aggressive plays.
Well, it's going to be Oblivione being way more aggressive here just with their tank line. You know, one side's running double shield, the other side running the thing. So Oblivione, I mean, they go in deep, but also immediately Jakes gets punished. So they're down a strategist early on. Enzo, if he's able to live, I think OG Esports is really well set up on this first fight. They are getting pushed back, though. Avast might even be giving up first cap, even up one.
I mean, I think losing first cap here for the side of OG, as long as you just clean up this first fight, get the return cap, that's fine. 5% for winning the first fight, getting that better ultimate charge there, definitely a better trade, almost always when you're in these like domination, king of the hill type of setups. So OG just gonna be controlling the point. I mean, what an early pick onto Jakes as well. I mean, typically you're never gonna lose that invisible. They're so reliable, they're so survivable. So losing a strategy like that so early is tough. Here's the initiation again, using that bulwark, just trying to put Forever into the middle of them.
Yeah, Forever diving into the back. Meanwhile, a little bit of counter dive coming in from Tanuki. Tanuki just getting plucked out of the sky by Demon. Both teams down one right now. Enzo under a lot of pressure. Ken gonna drop the God of Mischief into the invisible boundary. So OG Esports gonna use the boundary to stabilize a bit, get their players back into fray, and OG right now looking for a way in.
I mean, OG just sitting here on the point. There's going to be the Galactic Legend coming on out, but they have the boundary, so pretty much mitigates all the damage there. They can sit, play it safe, play it long as Tanuki going to pop the counter one. Can they find anyone? I mean, everyone's just going to back up. Use it looks like no one's going to go down really just yet. Oh, wait, actually one down for OG.
Nocta also is like holding on to the again here. Got one kill off the Kraken Impact. Now another reset, the third so far, and Nocta making it happen on the Winter Soldier into the backline. Exactly what Oblivione needed to get onto this point. So long as Nocta can live, Nocta dies to Enzo towards the end, and OG here, Avast, they're going to try and delay as long as possible with this Venom.
I mean, Enzo doing his best, just trying to stay up, but not going to last that long. But however, I think for OG, you can be pretty happy. 75% on the cap. You got some great ults out of Oblivione. I think Oblivione feeling pretty good here that they can potentially just set up here knowing there's no strategist ults. Go in with a collaborating time, set up some stuns, get one. And really well played from Oblivione to get that cap back as well. Just like forcing the invisible boundary early, coming back in, having the better Galactic Legend, surviving Tanuki's. As OG Esports looking to make their way in.
Also a swap from Enzo, no longer on the Strange, now on the Thing himself. Collaborating time in from Forever. Paswo getting Etsu off the rip. So 6v5 right now for Oblivione. They slow down the fight a little bit right now. More on OG Sports to make a move. Trade outs, both Star-Lords going down. As you see Forever right now, just swinging away in the front line. Pretty well supported. Now people dead that, you know, no one else should die from the Oblivione side.
Just some classic Tom and Jerry sound effects coming through every time you're listening to that. You're just hearing the clang over and over. Maker. And that's exactly what you needed, right? You knew Esports gets just one there. Passio following up. As now Oblivione holding on to the point, nearly about to equalize the bank as OG Esports need to make something happen.
There we go. Galactic Legend right now in from Demon, off to the side. OG Esports, meanwhile, going in. Enzo dropping the clobbering time, and it's a much better engage for OG. Two going down for Oblivione right away. Invisible boundary dropped. And we'll see how long Oblivione can delay. They use the God of Mischief on top of it, and right now they're down players. OG Esports trying to fully secure this. 84 to 76%. There'll be one more fight left for Oblivione if they give this up, so they're going for the reset right now as Tanuki finishes off 3.
I mean, they are definitely, I mean, they'll have another fight, but getting 3 late there just means they can chase. They might be able to get another pass. We're trying to make that out. And OG played that so well, using the covering time from Enzo to make sure they can't get max value out of the boundary, so they get some early pickoffs. And Oblivione, all they do is just pop strategy ult to stall. And now they're having to go for the really, really late contest. Probably having to use the portal. That's exactly what they're doing there for Forever. Make it on through. They are going to have the Meteor, so there's a chance that they can maybe get one. They need anything.
Meteor M in from Oblivione. Paswo getting punished in turn. Etsu with 2. And it's looking like Oblivione gonna get cleaned up here on point. OG Esports able to claw back on over, take round 1 away. But, you know, Avast, as expected, likely gonna be a close one. Pretty back and forth for our first round.
And this is just some classic, I mean, just pretty much the classic Hall of the Jolly. I mean, you're expecting to see, or rather, not Hall of the Jolly, but rather the Royal Palace.
Royal Palace.
You see a lot, yeah, you see a lot of poke coming through. I like the swap to the thing there for Oblivione because, I mean, you're pretty much just using that, or rather for OG Esports, because you knew that, okay, you lost the point, Stone Haymakers are cleaving you, let's use the team up there, get some extra bonus health for our thing, and when you're just controlling that point there, you're just like cleaving through 4 or 5 players at a time as they try to come up the stairs, so it's a very, very thing heavy oriented map, and probably not going to change here either for this point.
Yeah, and in terms of that, it was also kind of interesting. I think OG just ran with the Strange at the beginning for the portal, because towards the latter half they go, okay, you know what? We're gonna run thing too, and so swap off.
Definitely just for the portal initially. I mean, if you can have Strange like get value still throughout the whole map, obviously you like it. I mean, Strange still very strong, using the Cloak of Levitation to just like get up above, drop Eye of Agamotto's, drop Maelstrom. You can do also a lot of cleave as well with like the whip primary fire combo. So still a lot of value to be gained, but especially for this point, I mean, this is going to be the Odin's Archive. You're going to be seeing a lot of stone haymakers coming out through, or rather for the throne room, not the Odin's Archive. A lot of poke here on the top. And Enzo, where did he go?
He's gone. Enzo's completely gone. Stays, I think, was looking to maybe open with Meteor M, but it's not even going to happen. You lose your thing immediately. Etsu falls right after. Just a quick win in the neutral coming out from Oblivione, and should result in a longer first cap. Well, Demon gets caught. OG Esports making something out of nothing right now. Stays right now. Might be thinking a little bit more of, you know what, dropping that Meteor M doesn't seem like too bad of an idea. Oblivione still gets first control, but OG now on to the point. Enzo back into the fray, and again, it's a quick recap by OG Esports.
Oh, and I mean, a bit of a misplay there as well, because they get the cap. Sure, they lost an early pick, or rather a late pick, and I thought they were just going to give it up, maybe come back in later, especially with down the ults, because you see them being invested now, just getting caught. All late picks just being brutal here for Oblivione.
OG Esports is stacked. They have everything up aside from clobbering time right now. And I mean, so is the same for Oblivione, but to me, Avast, it feels like this next fight really could decide the round already, depending on who gets ahead from here. And getting Etsu in the neutral is absolutely huge. The early pick now, Oblivione, they can win this fight without investing a ton, and OG Esports might get baited into spending more in turn. So we'll see how this one works out. Galactic Legend gonna be popped here by Demon over the top. Oblivione looking to secure their advantage. OG Esports delaying a bit now with the invisible boundary. We'll see if that's enough forever. Dives into the back, drops a clobbering time. Nocta in for the follow through. And Oblivione do this pretty well here so far. Meteor M though out in turn, they lose Jakes, and this is still winnable for OG Esports.
I mean, still just able to play the God of Mischief with that copy on the invisible woman using the boundary. Very, very healthy, but they have to be careful. Tanuki dropping the Galactic Legend. They have the Meteor M to counter. Absorbs a lot of this damage. No one's gonna go down, and they're gonna get. They have to remove Tanuki though. They have to make sure they get rid of him. They do.
They're trading out back and forth, and very even still on both sides, which benefits OG, still in control of the point. Oblivione right now, they can't really back out. They get Etsu. Is that gonna be enough forever right now? Just laying the shots in the Doctor Strange. But the healing is there. Ken able to get pick off onto his counterpart, and Oblivione, they're gonna get forced back here, Avast.
Getting the flip, but not able to hold it. I mean, OG Esports, we've talked about a lot. They just look so consistently good when the ult economy there. You see them come in, be like, okay, we're gonna get that late pick, that early pick. We're gonna force some ults early out of Oblivione, play it slow, make sure to just trade effectively, and that's exactly what they do. Getting the flip, winning the slow fight, and Enzo even coming back on the Strange, just using that to just get back quick, can keep the contest up, make sure they get the flip. I mean, close to the Eye of Agamotto. OG Esports looking in control. All they need to really worry about right now is, okay, don't get caught by the clobbering time. Don't make sure we don't have to use anything too early. Make sure to also not lose anyone to Nocta, who's about to have, or rather to Demon, who's about to have the Galactic Legend.
Yeah, I mean, Galactic Legend is what they're going to open with here. Demon creating a little bit of opportunity. Great, Snay though, able to take down Nocta early on. Oblivione down one. They've used both clobbering time and Galactic Legend both down. Now OG Esports going to clone the invisible boundary. And for OG, this is looking like a smooth map one victory right here at Avast. Just clean up from here on out. Etsu, crack an impact. Should be enough to seal the deal, perhaps. See if Oblivione can delay, but they're on their last life. Invisible boundary gonna get dropped. We'll see how long they can delay. It's enough to get
Jakeson on Draco putting a masterclass there, ZP. I mean, using the passive to survive, to dodge the culling back there for the cracking impact, and Jake's popping the invisible boundary. Now, Oblivione staying alive here on the point. It was a masterclass from the strategist for Oblivione.
Tanuki, Galactic Legend here on the top looking for a thing. Instead, just gets plucked out of the sky from Passivo. Oblivione staying alive. Nocta, drop the cracking impact, finds stays into the back, looking for more. Two here so far, has another one in him, goes into the back. And Nocta, clean up Oblivione off the verge of defeat. Making something happen here, Avast, 60%.
And I thought it was over. I mean, Enzo drops the Eye of Agamotto in the back line, completely removes the threat of the Galactic Legend, gets 3 with the stun there, but just incredibly well played there from the strategist for Oblivione on Draco. Jake's perfectly just cycling the usage of their cooldowns, cycling the use of the boundaries. There's the Bionic Hook. Trooper's Fist gonna bring him in. Can they finish him off?
It's close, but not quite enough. OG coming in. Both strategists ults up. The tools you need to go in here. They even get the early pickoff, but they lose Snaze in the process. The invisible boundary not hitting in time to save Snaze. So that is rough. Now Jakes laying in the damage. Invisible
the isolation
right now. Yeah. And on the other side though, Etsu, Kraken Impact, takes down Jakes, gets rid of that threat. OG looking for way back into the point. Invisible boundary soon to be fading here for Oblivione. Eye of Agamotto gonna be used here by Forever. Is any fall through gonna be had? Nocta finds Enzo off of it. They're gonna get a little bit more. Demon in the top. Galactic Legend finds another, and Oblivione here, Avast might have done it.
There's a chance. I mean, no ults left up for OG Esports. Nocta about to have another Kraken Impact. They have to make sure not to lose. Going down, but I think with the Kraken Impact, they should be able to just seal it. There's just no way. They don't have enough sustain. They're waiting for the respawns. Yeah, they can't even touch. And Oblivione playing that masterfully. I just, everything goes back to that play from their strategist there, keeping them alive in that contest, making sure to get value there, forcing cooldowns as well from that early Bionic Hook as well. And even though Jake's went down, they force the Kraken Impact so early from Etsu, which makes sure that Oblivione has all the ults they need in a much better position to clean up that fight there in the 99-99.
Yeah, what a ridiculous comeback. That looked all but over for Oblivione. It seemed like it was going to be OG just cruising to the second round win, and then it does not go down that way. Some hero plays out of Jake's, and they're able to force a third round. So this matchup, living up to the hype here so far. See what change-ups we get here, where it does look like OG's just going to come out here on the thing once more. And, you know, looking at both teams here, anything standing out to you right now, Avast, and how they've been playing the opening?
Honestly, I mean, we've had some very, very fast openings. So currently, hasn't much to analyze. Look at the first point there when you had Bifrost Gardens, it was just like, okay, Jake's went down really early, so fight's over. OG Sports like essentially wins even though they got the early cap. Then second fight, I mean, immediately they found that pick it was just an immediate pick onto Enzo. So this might be the first time we actually get to analyze an opener and just see like, okay, what are they actually gonna do? Hopefully no one goes down immediately, because it looks like currently it's just gonna be a skirmish for the high ground, which makes a lot of sense for Odin's Archive.
It's actually pretty interesting. We get neutral fight 2 at the third round. Usually someone has ultimate ready to go. I guess Paswell gets a Meteor M pretty quick to start things off here. So look at Paswell, how this is going to be used here. He uses it raw or waits for another ultimate here as a counter. Right now it appears to be holding off. Got Mischief up here for Andre. So Oblivione gonna have that in reserve. Both teams' strategist ults just about up, and Jinx goes down! Etsu, again, the pick in the neutral before ultimates get used. Invisible boundary used by OG. Off the early pick here, Avast, they just want to secure it, and it looks like they're gonna do that.
And honestly, I mean, Etsu just completely owned that point. Etsu, like, controlled high ground, got an early pick, got another pick onto Jake's, removing the invisible boundary, and then I'm sure they committed Alex's invisible boundary return, but they got the Meteor out. So I think if you're OG Sports, you can walk away with like, okay, we won first fight, we got first cap, and we got an ult out. Great fight for us. Ult economy looking really, really good. As you see, very classically, everyone's going to be holding super aggressively, trying to get the poke, trying to force anything out. As Oblivione with putting Demon here onto the Storm to get the value from those aura.
Oh man, you just saw Tanuki get low there for a second. Enzo though, holding in the back, clobbering time ready to go. Forever already used it now. Snaze dropping the Meteor M. Tanuki does finish off Forever. So already up 1 is OG in this fight. Kraken Impact now, dropped by Etsu. Nocta though, is Kraken Impact far more severe. 2 already, make it 3. And that's gonna be a quick comeback here for Oblivione onto the point.
I'm loving the Storm swap there. Loving the Storm swap. I mean, they get an incredible amount of value early, just off the aura, getting AoE damage like crazy. Because remember, when you do the Goddess boost, you're also dropping AoE lightning. Everyone, take it. Lightning, lightning, lightning. Jack Black voice in the Minecraft movie. Lightning, the flint and steel. And so I think overall, like, this is a really good engage for Oblivione. And Jake's, again, showing the value of Invisible Woman in the strategist when they pop the Invisible Boundary and just immediately bringing Etsu back into that boundary, allowing for the kill.
Mega Hurricane gonna be the choice here for Oblivione, opening up the fight. See if anything's gonna go there. Enzo, though, immediately finds Jake's. Etsu on the fall through. So Mega Hurricane not gonna be amounting to anything. A very clean counterfight here from OG, back onto the point, back in control of the point at 54% to 26.
And this is a really, really hard point to also make it the final point for Oblivione, because OG Esports, if you're going to lose that first fight, this point, Odin's Archive, so incredibly strong for the defending team that already owns the point to just hold aggressively, try to force cooldowns, try to farm ults very, very aggressively up on the high ground. And the hard part is just getting out, trying to break the hold and getting back to the point.
I think right now, if you're OG, the one thing you don't give massive value to the pass well coming on in. The Meteor M set to go here off the rip, and Nocta right now looking for any pull. Now Tanuki. Now hanging on to the Galactic Ledge for OG. OG actually backing up, using the space to their advantage right now, letting the point tick up before the full engage. Now, Invisible Boundary going to be dropped here early on both sides. Tanuki holding on to the Galactic Ledge, and Meteor M still being held by Passimo. Waiting, Blaster Barrage into the back. Still just looking for anything low. Now, gonna drop the Galactic Legend. Passimo countering in turn with the Meteor M. Passimo gets one, but so does Stays on the other side. Both Meteors striking, both teams down one, but losing the support significantly, I think, worse for Oblivione. OG more sustained, but Demon's able to get onto Alex in the back. So this is still very even. Kraken Impact now gonna get used. You see Enzo Avast holding on to Agamotto, doesn't get it to opportunity to use it.
You just have to wait for the Omega Hurricane. Omega Hurricane out here. Gonna be hunting. Gonna find one. Etsu down. There's the bonus health as well. Damon putting so much damage here onto the point. That's all they need to get another. And I think Damon just surviving long enough has finally made the flip happen. And also, I mean, Passimo, we've given them credit before, but holy LeBron hitting the Meteor M there on the Tanuki and the Galactic Legend comes out. That was a crazy shot as well. I mean, just getting so much value there from mitigating the damage and getting the elimination is now Oblivione finally with the flip, playing that really well. The ult economy, the ult leaping, working out perfectly for them.
OG, though, still in a pretty good spot. They got 2 fights left to take the round. So Oblivione going to have to hold through 2 setups here on defense. I think key for Oblivione, don't lose anyone in the neutral forever right now, getting absolutely pounded through the front, able to get healed back up, but space is given in turn. Enzo now diving in. Agamotto. Is the fall through going to be there? Oblivione still holding on strong. Jake's dropping boundary in response. Etsu, though, is able to pluck Demon out of the sky, giving OG the 6v5 advantage. Everyone's still healthy. God of Mischief popped here by Ken. Invisible Boundary soon to follow. Clobbering Time used by Forever, trying to even the tail, and instead it's Nocta getting picked off. OG surgically taking down Oblivione. The Kraken Impact now coming in. And can Oblivione hold on here right now? OG is looking very good on this attack, Avast.
I mean, there's just no damage. There's no damage left here. I mean, such a crucial picks early. It's just 2 strategies and Passimo versus the world. And I mean, it's just the Vanguard. It's the strategist. They're trying to come back. Going for the Doctor Strange, so they just get back early. But with the Meteor in there, they gotta get one. They do. Passimo does it again.
Found Tanuki on the upper level. Oblivione back onto the point. OG now getting forced back down 2. Somehow, someway, Oblivione back in. Now in more control of the fight than not. OG trying to find a way back in. You look at Forever right now. Over and in, both teams trying out. It's Ken that goes down. That's rough for OG, down more in supports, but they get Andre in turn. Both teams now down to Loki. Is looking for on one side. The emergency Spider-Man swap Tanuki over and in. Looking for Invisible Woman on the side. Can he finish it? She's so low, but no, can't quite finish it off. Saved by Passimo. Just playing defense on the other end. It's nothing but pandemonium right now, Avast.
Oh, the regeneration domain here, so clutch. But I mean, they're just down so many players. They're staggered. They need something. They need a Galactic Legend to get a mini, but they have the boundary, and I think this is just going to end it here, ZP.
The boundary securing things for OG, perhaps. Oblivione now just trying to rush on to a point. They lose another 2. It's just like, anyone, touch, go on, go over, touch. But OG, good on the cleanup, holding it out in the end. A wild map 1 that OG Esports takes.
So much credit has to be given to, I mean, it just OG Esports, overall tenacity, their consistency, and still, Tanuki, even off the Wolverine, putting so much constant pressure there on the Star-Lord and Alex the MVP. I mean, honestly, this is not normally what we base our metrics on for the MVP, but I do have to give a lot of credit to both the Invisible Women players on both these squads. I mean, Jake's and Alex getting, you just see why this hero has been played so much more frequently and has become a staple of the meta. The force physics, the pushes, the pulls, getting an incredible amount of value. I mean, Alex getting the push there onto Nocta, just removing Nocta from the map, just ensuring there's no Kraken impact, guaranteed pretty much that they're in a long stagger fight there for Oblivione, removing the damage, and OG Esports just off that pick looked in control.
Yeah, and you saw it not only in that, but also just you think about the impact of Invisible Boundary on some of these fights, right? Where you're getting pushed away plenty of times, but it's like, okay, we lost one, drop Invisible Boundary, use it to stall, get back up to a full 6. Like, very multi-purpose.
Ridiculous opening game. And I was saying in chat, this is a sample of what's coming tonight. We are going to be here late. I am locked in and I am ready to go. ZP, could you name an MVP? Was there one individual who shined in that first map? Because we had 3 OTs.
Honestly, there was a lot of people that shine that map, but I gotta echo what Avast was saying here, and I gotta give it to Alex on the Invisible Woman side. Just incredible protection on both ends, really. I mean, you could say much the same for Jake's on the other end for Oblivione, but the strategist play was out of this world to keep people in fights. But other than that, even though they didn't win, I would also say Nocta for Oblivione, finding early pickoffs often. Also same on the other end, right, for Etsu, who was able to get picks on the Jakes, right? The neutral plays were really important in this map too. So, I mean, across the board, it was just really high-level Rivals play.
Avast, what I found really awesome was we saw a Storm coming out. It happened in the very first game of our night. On the other side, you have a Star-Lord. Is Star-Lord supposed to have the one-on-one edge against a Storm? Are you really just going for the damage boost for the team? Why did we see that coming out from Demon?
I mean, Star-Lord, comparatively to the... Let's just talk about more so why the Storm picked there, right?
Yeah.
On Odin's Archive.
Yeah.
Just the value of the aura. The value of the aura there, you're playing close. There's a very tight corridors. You don't have, like, huge skyboxes on that map comparatively when you compare it to, like, you know, the Throne Room or here in the Bifrost Garden. So Star-Lord gets a lot more value in terms of being able to work solo, get above and beyond the enemy shields, while Storm, on that point, on Odin's Archive, the aura there, everyone's so close, you're getting tons and tons of value there from the aura of Thunder, the aura of the tornado, just getting a damage boost, a speed boost. So that's why really for the first 2 points, you saw a lot more Star-Lord comparatively to the Storm, because you just have so much more room to work with and a lot more maneuverability for the Star-Lord where they're going to shine and be able to get picks.
So when Tanuki hasn't been on a Wolverine, I've seen him on Star-Lord. That's kind of my expectation for OG Esports moving forward. Is there a Star-Lord edge in this fight? Something you can tell early on, ZP?
Honestly, between the 2 Star-Lords, it felt relatively even. If I had to give an edge, it'd probably be a little bit the Demon. I thought Demon had some great plays over the course of it. Although half of it would be the sense that I feel like Tanuki was just getting blocked by Passwell half the time, where Tanuki would try to do something Galactic Legend, and all of a sudden you hear Fear Magneto. It doesn't matter where in the air Tanuki is, that Meteor was somehow finding Tanuki regardless. So that was less of a Star-Lord v Star-Lord and more of a Magneto hates Star-Lord difference for me, at least in the first map.
I think we got to give a shout out as well to Oblivione's staff. They came in with a massive roster in week 2. They put everyone into the starting lineup at some point. Passiwo gets the start in game number 1. His Magneto, definitely a difference maker in that round number 2. But overall, I think we got to keep our eyes on Snaze and Enzo, the vanguards from OG Esports. These two are complementing each other incredibly well. Perfect bubbles throughout this.
Yes, perfect bubbles. I mean, that's what really, really important. And I think also being able to have that flexibility, you know, onto Venom, onto Doctor Strange, it's really, really crucial when you have a Vanguard line, especially one that doesn't have a huge amount of roster depth behind it, compared to, like, to say, Oblivione has a much larger roster, right? So you can have more specialists. So I do think having the ability to be more all around, like, okay, I can play multiple different tanks, multiple different heroes, that's going to be extremely crucial for OG. And it's been shown so far, because their consistency in the region of Europe is that they look pretty good across every meta. There is no meta in particular that OG has looked rough at playing or any compositions. They've always been a threat across any composition they're going to play.
ZP, I hope we're going to a map where we're able to see some Hellas, and it looks like the pick is in. We're going to Hell's Heaven. What are the expectations, ideal compositions as we get into game number 2? Keep in mind, this is Oblivione's pick.
Well, as we're going in, I mean, this is, for me, I expect it to be much more in your face. It's Hell's Heaven, where people tend to be a little bit more dive heavy, especially with the map changing in your face on some of the maps. So, I mean, we'll see how this works out. I kind of think composition-wise, it's not going to vary too much from what we just saw on Royal Palace. Okay. And look, I mean, going to Domination again, if you're Oblivione, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? Like, the last map was super winnable for you, and unless you feel like you have a bigger play on Convoy or Convergence in terms of deeper strategy, I don't hate the decision to be like, you know what, we're going to run back Domination one more time.
Am I the only one who sucks at Domination? I look at my win rate, it's like Convoy through the roof. Domination, I'm in the 40s. Is this like a game mode that plays to a particular style of Avast?
I mean, yes, but also more importantly, I think it's also just how the design of the game mode works, right? Typically, if you're winning the first fight, especially on Hell's Heaven in particular, there's like very, very strong chokes that you can control. Oh, so if you're winning the first fight and you're in control there, it's very, very hard, especially like, let's say for your ranked games bucket, where you're playing against some random people that, you know, who knows what they've been doing all day, and they show up like, okay, time to be games, ranked ladder. Maybe the coordination is not going to be the highest, and because of the strength of the chokes, it's going to be very hard to get in. So I do think that, like, comparatively to many other map types in the ranked ladder, domination can be really, really tough and very swingy. And the same can sort of be said for here in the competitive play, more the professional end. But because these teams have such a greater coordination and actually use the flanks, use alternate angles to get in, to get back onto the point, definitely a lot more back and forth, I would say, than your average ranked play.
A little better than Diamond/GM. Okay, understand this one. ZP, here we go. Hell's Heaven is going to be map number 2. Oblivione is going to be doing the picks and bans. We've seen them remove Groot almost every single map that I can remember them here on Rivals Fight Night. On the other side, Hella was banned out by OG Esports when I think Etsu has one of the best Hellas in EU. So let's see what comes to the table here for map number 2.
My assumption, Groot's getting banned again. I feel like if you're a team that bans Groot, you never stop banning Groot. You continually cull the forest map after map, and that's what we see to open things up here.
All right, is Adam going next? Are they trying to minimize the amount of Star-Lord play?
Well, I think also if you remove Adam, it gives him the opportunity, because we know OG has liked playing Venom comps in the past, that if you remove Adam, it removes this, you know, that kind of that counter with the live stream and the soul bond, like, oh, we're in a full dive, you can't survive the dive as easily. So exactly what they're gonna get rid of. The real question is, do they protect Hella or Winter Soldier? Because Hell's Heaven might as well be called Hella Heaven, honestly, because of how strong Hella is on this map as well, yeah. Though obviously not as big on, you know, comparatively to like Convergence or maybe, you know, some of the other maps. So I do think that, like, this is a very strong Hella map if they choose to protect, but I wouldn't be shocked if they just, like, let's just lock in the Winter Soldier protect again. Jeff?
What?
Jeff, hey.
The throwaway. Okay. This feels like a throwaway protect.
Yeah,
but,
surely.
Yeah.
No, this is a pocket pick. Jeff comes out on point 3. They know what random map is going to jump up there. They got big plans. Thing on the other side is being protected. Oblivione taking a bit more serious. Luna was banned out in game 1. Will they go back to the exact same strat for domination? Yes.
Yes. Yeah.
This is a very strong Namor map, so.
Yeah, it's strong for Namor, and I think it's also the fact that if you're going to be running a Loki, also the fact is like it's one of the absolute strongest Loki clones, probably the strongest Loki clone in the game, right? Even as good as Invisible Boundary is. So honestly, it makes sense. And the Hella's gonna get banned out again. So I think if you're OG, you didn't really feel the need to shift anything up ban protect wise, aside from, you know, throw it in the Jeff protect just for the heck of it.
I think they have the Bucky edge, because we saw Nocta switching over to Psylocke. Psylocke a little bit easier to counter sometimes than Bucky. So I wonder if this is just some confidence coming from OG. They took map number 1, but it took them 3 rounds. This is Oblivione's pick. We're going to Hell's Heaven on the mic tonight. We have the wonderful ZP at TempoZP on Twitter. And of course, Avast O. Take it away, gentlemen.
Yep. The old Avast O with the underscore
very,
at the end. Not to be confused with the internet security company.
Yeah, I know. Definitely don't. I mean, they've been confused. They've sent me emails, be like, please, do you want to change your name? I'm like, no. I'll be keeping
Did they like vaguely threaten legal action, but not really, and you just like, you know, you held your ground?
They were like, they sent like a search optimization specialist at me, and they were like, hey, like, you really don't want to get in the way of our algorithm. I'm like, okay, like, I'll see you in the arena. Like, I'll see you in the arena, buddy. Like, let's duke it out. Jeff 1v1, but I think, I mean, the Jeff protect. I mean, definitely they just had to feeling confident there, because I just don't think we're going to be seeing Jeff. Outside of, like, Jake's maybe with Jeff just to give the speed boost. Yep, that's exactly right. Thankfully, they protected it, so you can see some Jeff speed boost bubbles out of the spawn.
You know, you ever think that's sad when you get Jeff in the locker room before the game, you just tell us, like, what is your goal here? You're just like, yeah, you just shoot a few bubbles at people, and then we'll never use you again.
You essentially give them anabolic steroids to get out of the spawn in the initial you just make you run really fast, like that guy that drinks all the serotonin. So immediately high ground control coming out from Oblivione as well. So just making sure, and also with the storm pick here as well for Demon. I mean, which makes a lot of sense. This is not a very big map. You get a lot of value from the aura.
Unfortunately though, Nocta got picked super early. OG, Ari with the advantage in the neutral. Tanuki though getting really low. Demon in hot pursuit. Tanuki though able to shake it. Nearly got 2-shot. Didn't quite happen. And now Enzo laying in the haymakers directly in the Forever. Forever again, real low. The finishing damage not there yet. Tanuki, though, taking down Jake's. And Tanuki just crushing the backline right now, Avast.
I mean, just losing Nocta so early means that Tanuki gets to kind of like run free. I mean, not only just lose so much damage in general from losing the Ranger, but in particular when you're coming up against Star-Lord here, it's very, very hard to deal with that because Storm is not going to be the best duelist into the Star-Lord. I mean, Storm, a little slow, Star-Lord, very, very fast. Can be moving around very quickly, can be hard to track. So now OG Esports with the first cap, already close to several ults. Looking to hold extremely aggressively, probably drop Tanuki on them with the Bulwark.
They're looking for, you have the early thing engage here. Oblivione looking for a way in. I mean, I think ideally they just wait a little bit to Mega Hurricane. They're nearly there. You just build ults in neutral is, I think, where they're at. OG with more in their bank here already. Got a Mischief gonna be used here. Ult taken though, not used here just yet. But here we go, Demon into the back. Omega Hurricane. This is gonna be Oblivione's opening here. Got a Mischief backing it up. Clobbering time gonna be invested though in response by Enzo to slow down the engage, and it's Andre getting caught. Alex with the pick. Oblivione down 1. Kraken Impact coming out at the same time. OG Esports down 1, but Galactic Legend in from Tanuki trying to finish out the fight here from the top. In response here is Pasuo with the Meteor M into the backline. Oblivione still in the fight. Invisible Boundary used a little bit later, but with 2 picks towards the end. OG finding a way through.
And their strat there was actually relatively unique. And once again, you talk about the power of Invisible Woman. They tried to go really aggressively, get into the back, drop the Invisible Boundary, and then force them to use their own before using the Force Physics to push them. For Jake, try to push everyone out so they could get value there from the Omega Hurricane. But unfortunately, it just wasn't timed properly. Just weren't able to get it. It's a very, very small window to work there. So OG Esports is having the much better ult economy for the longer fight. And now Oblivione, I mean, we're approaching a last fight territory. They got to get on in.
Now, the question is for Snaze, do you save the Meteor M or just use it? You could just drop it into the doorway right now, 94%, and they get the pick into the neutral. The easy pick on the Forever, and the danger here at Vast is that if OG wins this fight cleanly, they just get to carry on their economy into the next round as Snaze finds another. Oblivione down 2. They're going to burn what they have in their ult bank here. They keep this one alive. They open up with the Invisible Boundary. We now looking here, Nocta into the back, punished by Snaze, doesn't get much going. And OG, a very strong defense to finish it out.
Yeah, and this point, like we talked a bit about how just domination works in general, in particular Hell's Heaven, very hard to get back in. I mean, the chokes are really strong once you win the fights, and none of the strats that they were trying to use. I mean, Oblivione, they tried to use something a little bit innovative. A lot of it was revolving around like, okay, can we get them out of the Invisible Boundary just to find a pick? Just didn't really come to fruition there. So because of that, their ult economy was just never as good. They were always down because of losing the first fight. So losing the first round, Oblivione, though, I don't think there's going to be... I think there's still a chance here to bring something to injury, especially for this point, because we're going to see a lot of Rocket Raccoon in both sides bringing out the Rocket Raccoon here, because you want to have that team up, have the ability to drop the infinite grit, get the the infinite ammo, pretty much power up there, get a little bit of increased rate of fire for your Winter Soldier. So maybe a chance here for Oblivione to bring it back.
Also,
or just get some body armor.
Yeah, or just that. That's true as well.
Just a little bit of body armor courtesy of Rocket, you know, no big deal. But we're rolling on out and taking a look at the comps from both sides, and no Rocket, actually.
Oh, interesting. I thought they were. I guess, yeah, that's
no,
fair. They just give the rocket armor and the jump pack. So I thought they were going to do it because I've seen teams do it a lot, but that's fair. I mean, everyone loves the Invisible Woman instead. That's why you can't trust the spawn doors. It's like, oh, especially when you're dealing with like things like Jeff and Rocket, just you get a little bit of value early before the spawn doors open. Swap it up is Forever getting absolutely shot.
Yeah, he was getting shredded from all ends there. Tanuki onto the side, punishes Demon, who tried to come in from the back. And just like that, it is a super quick fight in the neutral for OG, and Enzo just gets to casually walk forward. Quick control here for OG.
And Oblivione looking a little shell-shocked, honestly, because they get to point Forever takes an incredible amount of damage. They have to use some cooldowns early, the Guardian Shield, etc., just to protect them. And then Enzo just goes to the backline, drops the clobbering time, finds 2, finds 3. Immediately, they clean up the point. So Oblivione, I mean, moving a little sluggish here, ZP. Not capitalizing, not able to find the aggression they need.
They're so behind in economy right now is the other problem. Now this is going, like, they're probably gonna have to open up with Invisible Boundary just to set the stage here, but they might lose one already as Tanuki getting real close to getting a pick here in the back. Instead though, gonna shift back around. Galactic Legend being held in the tank here so far. Galactic Legend ready for both sides at this point. Demon gonna be the first one to pop it. in the backline, takes down Alex, a massive early pick with the Galactic Legend. We'll see if they get a little bit more. Andre able to take down Snaze, and very nice engage here from Oblivione Avast.
Honestly, that really shouldn't have happened. I mean, they knew they were up on high ground. They knew they were coming up from there, and they dropped the Galactic Legend. I guess they were trying to play it a little cutesy, perhaps, like, oh, maybe we'll drop the regeneration domain. We'll just have Loki tank him through that. But instead, losing Alex so early, as you see, we're going to be seeing
like this
portal play, a little portal play to come out of here for OG Esports for the contest.
Also, the picture-in-picture. This is good production tech.
Look at that.
I love it.
Yeah, look at that.
All right, so you see the portal coming on in. Quick engage here from OG. Oblivione really needing to win this fight. Nocta hang on to the back. Meteor M going to be used. Kraken Impact done in response. Nocta just drops into middle. Now going to the back, looking for his counterpart. Winter Soldier on the left side. Meanwhile, though, it's just two quick picks here from OG. Invisible Boundary helping secure it all. And just like that, Avast, they're back. They got control once more.
I mean, portals. They're thinking with portals. Get up on the high ground immediately. Take them off the high ground. Have the Meteor in, knowing that Jake's going to have the Invisible Boundary, getting one. And that's just a well-played recontest from OG Esports. Oblivione just not able to rotate in time, not able to keep themselves up through those ults. And now they're in a situation where, like, okay, time to come back to the point. We don't have any portal.
Yeah, I mean, they're just going to have to go back in. Hope Forever gets a good clobbering time to set things up. Tanuki right now. Hang on to the Galactic Legend. Both Star-Lords being pretty aggressive at popping it early into the fight. Forever, meanwhile, going in, looking for the proper opportunity to press Q, get this party started. Drops a clobbering time, gonna get the Invisible Boundary dropped in response from OG. Both teams still at a full 6-on-6. Andre dropping Invisible Boundary for Oblivione in turn. Agamotto, though, gonna be used here by Enzo, and it's full cleanup afterwards. A perfectly timed eye. Demon dropping Galactic Legend layer into the fight, but this is rough. Now, Avast, I'm not even sure they get a full attempt here.
I mean, they could probably portal. They're going to have to try to portal here for Passive. That's exactly what they're going to do. I don't know if they can make it in time even. I just don't think it's going to be possible.
I don't think this portal's get it. 98, 99, and no, that is OG taking the second map, flying through it here. A much more dominant performance on map 2, and Oblivione, you know, they brought OG Esports to the limit and defeated them back on Rivals Fight Night number 2, but OG Esports proving that they can learn from past mistakes and might be looking at the 3-0 here, Avast.
I mean, at this rate, the flexibility there for OG coming through yet again. Enzo, very clutch swap onto the Doctor Strange for the recontest and getting the humongous Eye of Agamotto as well for that fight, that last fight. I mean, it was beyond the eye. It was like both eyes, the face, the body. I mean, it was everything. Like literally that was a huge Eye of Agamotto. Make sure they clean up. And I think here for Oblivione, compared to what we saw them previously, right? When they debuted, they looked really, really good there in our previous Rivals Fight Night. It doesn't seem like that flexibility is working for them here when they're playing versus OG. Seems like OG just looking far better across the board, across every role.
Ken is looking like a monster on Loki. I was looking at the numbers here. 10,000 damage to around 4,000. So 6K damage difference, and that's coming from your strategist. That is going to help OG Esports take a quick 2-0 lead. Good stuff and a great return after getting knocked off the point. They were instantly back on, got a ton of use out of their ultimates. But let's take a look at some of the highlights. And Avast, I feel like we could be looking at a 3-0. I don't expect domination to be game number 3. Remember, here at Rivals Fight Night, it's 3 to the next round.
I would be a little shocked if they pick domination again. If so, maybe they're trying. I mean, maybe they're doing a quick clock in, clock out sort of day, perhaps. Like, I don't know. They're just trying to speed shift it. But I don't think that's going to be likely to do domination for a third time. If they do, that is pretty interesting, I'd say. I mean, they must really believe in their domination for Oblivione. I bet surely it's going to be a convergence or a convoy map that comes up next. Maybe somebody to swap up, try to play some Hela or things like that. Like, it just depends, but it surely can't be a domination again because the 3-0 is definitely in the air. It's wafting towards my nose right now at the current trajectory.
ZP, the chat is ready. They're asking, is VP ready to play? Well, Virtus Pro is actually on a plane right now. Finzi watching from the sky, 30,000 feet in the air. Thanks for tuning in, bro. Thanks for being in the chat. Also, Tailspin, the OG content maker from Overwatch when it first came out in beta, is in the chat challenging ZP to play Path of Exiles too. But let's take a look at the highlights here. Demon trying to do what he can at the end of this one, was able to get that first pick on the Invisible Woman. That turned the team fight for Oblivione. They score a little bit, and then the rest of this is OG ZP.
Yeah, and I think a key difference from map 2 to map 1 is that OG just played way more secure. They gave up way less picks in the neutral. The ult trading was even better. And overall, they were still getting good picks onto Oblivione, right? Whether it be first picks on the Demon at times, first picks onto the backline and Jake's. They just, it felt like they learned and adapted from map to map, and Oblivione just kind of came in with more of the same, which is why map 2 was not as close as map 1.
Avast, I'm looking at the chat, and Esports, we're always known for being able to look at numbers at the end of the game and call somebody out. Nocta is playing on a damage dealer, a duelist. He is getting 0 final blows on Winter Soldier. Are we worried if we're Oblivione, or is that a team issue, not just an individual having struggled?
I would probably say when you look at because it was pretty, I mean, it was a 2-0 domination there, right? And like, yes, that is definitely a pretty rough scoreline, but overall, I mean, they were kind of blown out of the water here, right? I mean, you just look at the overall stat difference. You saw the fights themselves. Like, they just didn't win any fights. And you could argue, like, okay, yeah, that's where your duelists come in. They should be getting those final hits. But if everyone's falling over entirely, then not much is going to happen. You can't be losing strategies early. You can't be losing duelists early. I will say, like, when you can see the difference comparatively, like, you know, Tanuki, really, I mean, Etsu, just how much damage they are doing, that is a little worrisome for Oblivione, because we know those duels players. We've seen them play well. They played pretty well in this map. It was much closer first map there, right? So I do think that's something that can't be happening. You can't be getting 0 final limbs on Winter Soldier, especially because your whole, you know, kit revolves around getting final limbs, in particular your Kraken Impact and ult. So maybe something went wrong there. I think it's just like a, you know, maybe an underperformance for the map, and hopefully they bounce back for the next.
I think it was just Demon stealing all the final blows with a little spritz, you know. I'm that guy. You know you are too, chat. Let's jump into this game, though. We're going to the path. Yggdrasil path has been one of our favorites to watch, and honestly, ZP, you could see full holds or you could see hour-long matches on this map. Expectations as we see the rematch here, Rivals Fight Night, OG Esports on match point.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned full holds, because that was what happened the last time these two teams played in Rivals Fight Night, where Oblivione looked incredibly good on the path. They were able to get the first point hold, and it was one of those, oh wow, Oblivione got hands moments, and, you know, making that series a really close series. Now, is anything going to change ban-wise here? We'll have to see. I think for Oblivione, still probably going to be leading with the group ban, but I'm kind of with the Avast mentioning the idea is like, okay, maybe you protect the Hela. If you're OG, on the other hand, you could go a step ahead and wait a second. Okay, it's Oblivione banning the Warlock.
We might have it swapped. If this is a group, I just have a feeling we're swapped.
It is possibility,
maybe, but
yes.
But also there's a chance that if they've been prioritizing the star, and you're right. Okay, I was about to go into the theories, but you're right. And the group's banned, which makes a lot of sense. I was about to jump into like, oh, actually, it's because they want to remove the team up for OGs, rather for Oblivione, but no. It's
protect the Hela.
Does make a lot of sense.
Do it.
It only took us 4
Hela.
weeks, but I know these guys bans and protects like the back.
This would be a Hela map. This would be a Hela map, by the way. Like ZP, I think you're definitely calling it out. Like I would love to see a Hela.
What?
Okay.
None needed.
Sure.
Okay.
You know what? We're willing to play anything, they say. And
yeah.
Go ahead, Z.
I think the idea for that is just, again, it's we're not going to give you an idea of what we're actually going to play strategy-wise by tipping it with a protect when that happens. It's not like the teams aren't just like randomly messing up and not using the protect. Like it's an information like hiding technique, if anything. But it's an interesting one.
The strongest use of the protect, though. I would say always protect the Jeff versus no protect at all.
Yeah, very Sun Tzu coded here for both teams. Just like, don't let them know your next move to have a strategy, and you know that's great for them because I don't know what they're going to be doing with Hela being banned though from OG Esports. I mean, this is a map path that you control. You see a lot of Hela, particularly there's really long flanks. You can use like the bird form to just like get up to the high ground, get out.
Loki.
Yeah, I think we saw the Adam Hela ban all 3 games in a row. On the other side, Luna not going to get canceled out. Instead, they're going to target the Loki. I kind of like this thinking here. Get rid of one of their best players. Ken has been an issue so far as OG is up 2-0. We're going to the path with ZP and Avast.
Yeah, and Avast, I mean, the fact that they got rid of Loki, I mean, it means both teams likely going to be running Luna the entire way through, but also, I think, especially on defense, Namor's going to come out in force. It's been a whale-less day so far, but the gates of the ocean been opened up.
True, it's finally time. I want to see the whales come out. I want a whale spot. Here on the Z path of Yggdrasil. You like that one? Do you like the Z path of Yggdrasil?
I wasn't expecting it, but I should have. I absolutely should have.
I mean, technically I'm moving the map name around but it's, you gotta force it in there somewhere. But definitely Namor, I think, is a good call here, right? Namor's really, really strong. We've seen really incredible flanks, in particular on the first point, for when you're the offense, setting up Namor using the blessings of the deep to just get up onto the high ground, put 2 monsters spawn down, focus fire 1 with the right click, and that likely seems to be the case here yet again for these teams who I think are probably going to be playing Namor. Though Tanuki is staying on the Jeff, and we're going to see some DPS Jeff here, ZP.
That's right. I mean, you think about Tanuki normally on Duelist, but sometimes you just go,
he does do a lot of damage. He does a lot of damage, and he is very mobile. So, I mean, it could work. Okay, immediately frozen by the absolute zero. And they've left him alone.
And he's back. He's back. He's poking around. It's DPS Jeff. We'll see how long this is effective, but for now, just showing that he can deal with the other undersea creatures right now. It's actually Jeff's domain. And he's dead.
I mean, Namor is the Lord of the Seas, right? So, I mean, Namor said, okay, actually, this is my domain, so get out of there. And there's going to be the pick, the Duelist Jeff, not paying dividends currently, as Tanuki look like they're going to steal with it, or stick with it, as Nocta just controls the high ground here.
Yeah, I mean, sticking with the Jeff, we'll see how it goes. I mean, maybe it's just for the Devourer, trying to get some value of that towards the end. I don't know, it's interesting times we live in, but for now, Oblivione not giving up anything on the defense. OG losing stays early, Nocta able to find the pick. Invisible boundary dropped by Ken, but it wasn't in time to save stays. And for now, if you're Oblivione, you're pretty happy with this Avast. You can just hold back a little bit. Everyone's still plenty healthy. You got a nearly full ult bank to support it forever. Just casually gonna move forward while Stays is gone.
There's gonna be the clobbering time coming out in return. Fate of Both Worlds is available, is out, keeping everyone up, as it's just gonna be a bit of a brawl here on the point. Looking for the picks, waiting, trying to get past the card here, set up the meteor, and that's exactly what they're gonna do. Trying to find one, can they?
Jeff's gonna eat him. He's gonna eat him and beat him.
Puckett just had to come in. Jeff's ult.
I mean, he could. I mean, he could. There is an area they can throw. They can't the map. It is theoretically possible.
I mean, that would be what the break racket, and he's going for it. Jeff. Did he get anyone? He's moving.
He does.
He's moving.
He's got two.
He got the entire front line. He's taking him. He's taking him off the map. Jeff off the top rope into the depths of Asgard, and that actually could be enough to get the first point.
I mean, Demon's gonna go Doctor Strange here for the recontest. So they're gonna be able to come back in with the clobbering time. They're relatively close to this, but they gotta get out. They have to make sure to get the touch. They are gonna finally make it out. They have to make sure not to get caught in the clobbering time, but they caught here.
The clobbering time comes in. However, Demon's able to take down Enzo. This recontest still not bad right now for Oblivione. They lose Jakes though. Alex catching Jakes in the back line, Snays with another. Demon though into the back on the Etsu. Still very winnable here for Oblivione. Snays though hunting down the strategist, gets rid of Andre, and it just Snays ripping up the side here. Is that gonna be enough for OG to get the first point? They are running out of time, only a minute left, but Oblivione also running out of players on the point.
It is a slow cleanup, but I think this is definitely going to be a cleanup there. I mean, the split, the isolation there onto the back line was all they needed, and it was a good recontest, but just not enough. They needed to have something else come out there. They had to get like a pick. As OG Esports going to continue on forward with, I mean, the Jeff is staying. It's 75% to another eat here. I mean, I just can't believe it. I mean, I don't know. I can't remember. I guess there is some areas you can definitely still take them, but also you can just use like a more consistent, like using the Jeff ult to just like kidnap, take 1 or 2 of the enemy team to your back line, just finish them off very early as Absolute Zero again on Jeff Tanuki. I mean, Jeff is just, I mean, just look at him. Look at this guy. He's being so annoyed here. Tanuki on the Jeff.
I mean, this is a little bit ridiculous, but hey, I am all here for it. Demon though, really early pick onto Etsu. Gonna put this attack from OG in a tougher spot, but Andre dropping Fate of Both Worlds. Here we go. Jeff, are you hungry? What are you feeling right now? The whale comes in. Jeff's not feeling too hungry about that. Snays getting taken down, and 2 down for OG. he might go for a reset here rather than throwing good money after bad, but they're getting staggered on top of it. Enzo getting taken down as Tanuki right now, setting up for the big Jeff flank.
Played the Jaws theme. Played the Jaws theme. Donna. I mean, just looking for it. They know. Okay, no, he's still not going to pop it just yet. But keeping the presence on him. Trying to poke in the backline. I mean, doing a decent amount of damage there to Strategist. Is they're going to get a pick. Nocta goes down.
Yeah, I mean, Jeff helped set up the pick. The Jeff was protected. Perhaps not so much a meme. Visible boundary dropped here by Oblivione. Etsu, cracking impact ready. Here comes Jeff.
Oh, there's 4.
He's seeing everything. He's 100.
He's doing it. Oh, he's doing it.
Oh.
Well, I mean, that's you can. There is an area. There is an area on the map where you can get it. I mean, the Tanuki Jeff duelist pick has been working out here pretty good. I mean, they're still gonna have another fight though because the spawn's relatively close. Though Nocta gets found early by Enzo, so that I mean reduces the capability here for Oblivione to fight. I mean, that's pretty much like an incredible amount of their damage. All they really have to worry about now is cracking impact.
See if Oblivione can we get out of here to the point. They do not. OG off Jeff eating at the buffet. Avast just walk forward, get the second point. The Jeff protect was real. We doubted.
I mean, we truly doubted. I mean, Jeff always has been a pick where you can do a decent amount of damage. You're extremely mobile, but typically you prefer having a little bit of extra, just like, you know, finishing a limb potential, having some more opportunity with just overall utility. But I mean, Jeff does provide that. I mean, very mobile, like gives bubbles. As Demon getting pressured off here on the flank. Not a lot in the bank, but very close for Oblivione to have another 4 ults here. So this is their chance, ZP. They need to stop them right here, ideally on this choke, and get their ult bank up.
Their spirit has not been crushed by the Jeff play. Snaves though, open up, Meteor M. Looking and looking, nothing coming off
Blocked
that.
by the blessings of the deep.
Whale, meanwhile, gonna be thrown into the mix. Demon getting Alex right off the back of it. Oblivione up 1. Clobbering time dropped by Enzo. The stems some of the push forward here. OG though still in a rougher spot. Enzo unable to get away. So this is gonna be more of a reset for OG.
Okay, and this is also where Tanuki has the eat here again. And this is where it's a lot harder to take someone off the map. You got a little bit more distance to cover. So I imagine they're going to use this. I mean, they could. They're still choked. Where's the chance? I mean, this is the play here for OG. They're just looking to set up here. Jeff waiting. Tanuki waiting.
You know, death approaches. Here we go. Looking for it one more time. Who's going to be in it? No one. That's a sad Jeff.
That's an extremely sad Jeff. And there's going to be the pick there on it. The invisible boundary does get used, but for Oblivione, this is fine. They've traded. However, they are a little bit further away from the spawns there than OG Esports, who gets to come back in with the Kraken impact. Etsu
looking for a resets. Nah, you have to earn those resets when you don't have Loki in the game, as it turns out. It's not free. Meteor M though, off and ready, takes down Alex. Both teams down to support. Oblivione doing a great job of burning time off the clock here so far. Clobbering time getting dropped here by Forever. Forever though might give his life for it. Can't get away. Clobbering time or no. Tanuki on the punish. Now on the other sea-based hero and more. Down by Demon, but not before getting some decent damage done in turn. Oblivione still on the back foot, getting forced back. And it's just OG now, Avast walking forward.
I mean, with the embattled leap, just making sure the and the Yancey Sweet charge, making sure the immobilization comes out there, just late pick there on the Demon. I mean, and also, I mean, is this the first fully aquatic player with Tanuki? Just did they have kills?
I think that's what we're seeing. I mean, it's clearly an aquatic focus. You cannot deny the reality being thrown in our faces right now. But here comes Enzo. OG. 10 seconds left on the time to finish this one out. Dropping the clobbering time. His fall through going to be there onto Magneto. Doesn't really look like it. Meanwhile, Etsu, though, was able to get Nocta into the back. Alex, fate of both worlds. Coming on in. OG trying to push the advantage. 1 up right now. Fate of both worlds down the other side. Whale getting dropped into the back. Etsu getting 1, now 2. As Etsu just walking forward. Kraken impact after Kraken impact. And that Avast may be enough for OG to finish this one out.
And just having the Hornet Proteus plus the Kraken impact at the same time, no strategist ult, knocks down the players, Kraken impact to put the culling effect, get the immediate finishes. It's exactly what you want to see if you're OG Esports. Gets the full cap there. A bit of a tortured path here on Yggdrasil's path, but hard map to complete sometimes. Very hard map to complete. And I mean, running Duelist Jeff for the first 2 points. So playing a very interesting way to do it. And it looked pretty good, honestly. I mean, they definitely knew what they were doing. I think at the there's not really as much room for Tanuki to maneuver. They were saving the bulwarks. They were saving the more blessing the deep the bubble just to get above it. So it's a lot harder. But great full cap there for OG Esports.
Do you think that's rough on VOD review? Should Oblivione lose this map and you go back, it's like, all right, Jeff got hands. Like, is that a fun VOD review at that point?
I mean, I think at that point, you have to remark that it was working. I was keeping pressure onto the back line. They were looking them. They were even using like things like the absolute zero. They're using cooldowns on the Jeff, unable to finish, and it, won 2 points, multiple points for OG Esports. So I think it's it feels bad, but also you have to like give some credit there to just the value of Jeff. And I doubt Oblivione are going to be doing anything in return of the similar nature. They'll probably be keeping a pretty standard composition. Maybe they just get some of the rocket packs here, some of the armor, some of the jet packs from Andraco. But I imagine it's gonna be more of the same. You could see a Hawkeye. I wouldn't be opposed to a Hawkeye. It's a very big, very long map, but I doubt it's gonna stay. Yeah, it's not.
All right, so now we get a look at the Oblivione offense where, it's not, never mind. I was gonna say, it's like, the Scarlet Witch, that would also be unexpected, but
can't trust it. Can't trust the spawn doors.
Some things never change, but also Forever is just getting crunched early on. Is able to back out in time, but nearly got bursted. Bionic Hook coming on in. Demon nearly down for it, getting very, very low in turn, but instead the isolation on the pass flow. The strategist line of Oblivione doing a great job keeping Forever up into Demon, into Passivo, off of some really good focus fire attempts by OG. Now, though, we've got the crux of the choke point here. One of the harder areas to get through here so far.
Love to get that. They're trying to do it again. Every time the anti-3 charge again with the organization. They just, and Tanuki takes down Forever. I mean, it's the second time they tried to find Tanuki on the flank, and it's just Namor doing so much damage, having so much survivability as well. Especially when you have the combo there with the frozen spawn from Alex.
Yeah, it can be very, very rough. But first attempt right now, gone for Oblivione. Now, looking for a way back in Forever. Back in onto the point. Enzo, meanwhile, going to answer with the clobbering time. Etsu following the clobbering time up with the Kraken Impact. No resets here just yet, though. In fact, they lose Snaze. Snaze goes a little bit forward to help. Instead, gets focused down in turn. 2 up now is Oblivione. Nice opening to the fight here. Demon finding Ken towards the back end, and Avast, this could be it for the first point. Maybe they Strange Portal back end. Snaze is already on the Strange. We'll see if that's going to be enough.
I mean, they need to get rid of Tanuki. They need to get rid of Tanuki. They finally do. The clobbering time going to be invested there for Enzo as well. I mean, a little bit of an over-investment, all things considered. They did get some late picks, but here, I mean, they're just going to be walking on forward using the clobbering time of their own. And I think you talked earlier in the map about, okay, we need to see more from Demon. We need to see more from Nocta. I mean, Demon's pretty consistent, to be fair, but like, Nocta having a much better map. Demon as well still looking really, really good. The duelist for Oblivione just opening up there. As I think there's going to be cap. I mean, even if they try to contest, they won't have any tanks. I mean, they can go for it, but they have to be really worried you're going to lose someone there in the entry. But looks like Enzo maybe wants to go for it.
They're going for it. Yeah, they just drop on down. Enzo, though, might just get bursted for it. But no, Ken's right there, invisible boundary. That's enough for OG Esports to get into the fight. However, Passivo, early Meteor M, could drop it with 1 Meteor. Looking, doesn't land it. OG still at a full 6. Horn,
oh my.
Massive Horn. Oh. But on the same note, OG hasn't fully evicted Oblivione here just yet. Instead, both teams desperately wounded. Oblivione extending here with the Luna ult, but Andre goes down. And Avast, it's enough for OG to get back onto the point.
I mean, that is just the worst possible situation. And look at the stagger onto Passivo as well. I mean, that's the backbreaker. That's Bane taking Batman in the sewers, putting him over the knee. I mean, that's just disastrous. It's just disastrous there. They're gonna have to do their own Rise of the Dark Knight. They're gonna have to be in the pit doing push-ups and stuff. Like, there's just no way, because like not capping it there with Enzo staying alive, they get the early boundary out too, and they just the Hornet Proteus with everyone there on the point, just absolutely shattering the offense chance there. It's Oblivione, they're having to come back in. They're gonna have the Kraken Impact, but there's still good ults up for OG Esports.
Again, kind of a hard mode, Kraken Impact. Snaze, though, wants to end it here now, opening up with the Meteor M. It's huge! Gets 2, the combination with the clobbering time. Ooh. However, it's too decisive, Avast. It leaves time on the clock for Oblivione to get 1 more fight.
And you're actually, I mean, you're 100% right, because not only was that so fast, now Demon still holds on to the Kraken Impact. They're close to a Hornet Proteus, and there's no strategy for OG Esports here. So winning that quickly gives Oblivione 1 chance, a small window here to open it up, and Demon, it all has to be on him.
All right, final attempt, 4.8 for Oblivione. The money match on the line. OG looking to get there for the first time. We'll see if they have it in them here. Oblivione, though, looking to stay alive. Final opportunity here on the path. Point A in progress. Etsu opens things up. Kraken Impact, Demon on the same side. Both Winter Soldiers looking and looking. Will there be any resets? Nocta takes down Tanuki. Oblivione, a little bit of life here, but they lose pass well in turn. They down 2. OG Esports, Invisible Boundary, keeping them nice and healthy. Stays able to get Jakes, and it's looking like OG Esports will be in to the money match versus LG right after this. A strong first point hold on the path, and what a reversal from 2 weeks ago.
I mean, the spine is fully shattered. The spine is fully shattered. Bane has done his work to it, because that was... And it not only just an incredible hold there, an incredible retest for OG Esports, but that final fight, they split so effectively. They have the spawns up from Tanuki behind them that Oblivione, they just put so much pressure on the Demon to where they can't go. They can't go first with the Kraken Impact. Then they lose a pick. You see Etsu get an incredible hook, get an incredible find there off the Kraken Impact as well. And I mean, it was just over. It was over at that point. They just weren't able to go fast enough. And OG Esports, there's a reason they're Mr. Consistent, and they look consistently amazing throughout this series.
Yeah, and I mean, look, this is a team that is number 2 in Europe by most people's estimation, certainly by the invitational results. They got shocked by Oblivione a few weeks back. That's why we need to do the rematch, because, you know, the OG's overall performance mandated they needed another shot at it. But we couldn't bring OG back without bringing back Oblivione, who beat him last time. But this time around, Avast, they get the revenge. They look improved, and honestly, even over the course of this match, they adapted and got even better when the first map looked like it was going to be closer than it really was.
Yeah, OG Esports, I mean, they're showing that they're the pedigree. They have a very, very strong pedigree of consistency, and you know, they might not be the best team in Europe. They're still obviously, along with everyone else, fighting to just come ahead of, you know, Virtus Pro, but they are doing stuff like this. We'll put out Tanuki on the Jeff, and I mean,
Jeff in Europe.
I mean, just the impact was incredible.
Yeah, I mean, this is where we got to bring back in Puckett. Puckett, I know you had to be losing your mind where it's like, wait, the Jeff is real? And then Jeff eats 4 people. The Jeff was very real.
Yeah, you guys thought it was a joke. I was like, no, he's almost at his ultimate. You just wait. I've seen this shit done to me. And it happens again. The 4K over the side. And the worst part is he's willing to go with it, right? This isn't just spitting out. This is commitment. Both times he bombs off the side. And honestly, while he's having fun on Jeff, you really got to see Etsu shine. The man leads the lobby in damage. The Winter Soldier. If he's in the game, expect Etsu to pick him and cause you problems. Avast, how often can you do a strategy like this? I know it's still early in the game. When Overwatch first came out, people had 6 divas on a point creating chaos. So how often can you pull out something like a strategist Jeff and work purely around his ultimate?
It depends on the map, honestly. It depends on the map, and it depends on the matchup. I feel like OG probably had to be feeling really confident, and they had to be knowing that, like, okay, like, we can maybe experiment a bit. We potentially have played this in scrims, right? We don't know what all goes in. Yeah, we don't know what's been going on in the practices for these teams. So how much have they actually been using? Is this them feeling confident in the moment, thinking that, okay, Oblivione isn't going to be expecting this? And also for Jeff in particular, you need to have maps where you can get value from, like, the hazard, the map, being able to take them out of the boundary there. And Path of Yggdrasil obviously has some really great points for that. So I would say that there is no set amount of you can do it this much or you can do it this much. It kind of just depends on the day. It depends on the map. And OG, they saw the opening. They took it.
ZP, I know you normally talk to the players. I'm just going to speak to you directly, Demon. He asked, hey, how long's the break? We don't even need to take one. If you're ready to go, we'll jump right back in these lobbies here on Rivals Fight Night. No, real talk, though, a 3-0 was not the expected series outcome that I expected. Oblivione getting the best of OG the first time around. Now it is a one-sided affair. My takeaways: you got to look out for every single position on this OG Esports team. And coming up, we have to name the MVP. So ZP, on the play-by-play, who gave you the most fun?
It's got to be Tanuki. I mean, not only was Tanuki great on the Star-Lord, but we got to give some highlights to the Jeff, where it's just dramatic. I mean, the final clip where he grabs 4 people and drops off, it kind of reminds me of, like, the old WWE stuff where, you know, you have Mankind about to just jump off the top of the cell, like, completely self-destructive, but for a cause. And, oh, man, it was fun to watch across the board. Tanuki making great plays all day long.
A Jeff main who sometimes will flex over to Star-Lord or Wolverine. Excellent plays from the young man, and expect more of it in the upcoming matchup. Wolverine could come out against Luminosity. I expect a little switch up in the compositions as we'll have more than just dominations of Avast.
Yeah, I mean the Z MVP here for sure. Definitely the Z MVP of the series, and I give a lot of credit to Nuki because I think this is a player that is very flexible, and I think many teams need a player that has that flexibility. You will obviously want as much flexibility as you can, but sometimes it's hard because of the current, I think, sort of hard rules of like what a lot of teams are just playing. And Tanuki looked good across everything, looked good across whichever character, whichever hero they were on. They knew their timings really well. They were making excellent use of the flanks, and you can see that. I mean, like you see kind of like the killer instinct of like a Namor of like or a Star-Lord looking for flanks, and like you put that in the Jeff, and you're like, oh, like that's a package right there. You put Jeff because it's so important to just actually be able to abuse the lines you can take, be able to abuse the amount of mobility that you have, and having a player like Tanuki that really knows how to properly utilize that mobility is very, very scary.
It's like, hey, they're going to play around the cart. I'm just going to eat them all, throw them off the map. Well done. Don't need to do it with headshots when you can eat them up from below. ZP, we've got another match coming up here. Before we go, anything you want to shout out to the amazing fans? We're approaching 500 viewers. We're at 5,000 followers on the Twitch. We're also live across YouTube and, of course, our Twitter.
Just if you're enjoying the content, we do this every single Thursday, bringing the best teams across EU and NA in Marvel Rivals. Rivals Fight Night. Catch us on YouTube if you happen to miss the show when it is live. And also, while the EU final is shaping up to be something special, going into NA, we got the rematch between ShroudX and Shikigami to kick things off, and you always get to see more of 100 Thieves, which right now looks to be the team to beat in NA. It is a stacked day still yet to come.
We're going to take a short break. When we come back, it is the EU final. Who's walking away with $1,000 and the Rivals Fight Night crown? Luminosity is the interim champion, taking on the new challenger, the 3-0 Tanuki in OG Esports.